UFC 322 Merab versus Jan takes place this weekend. This will be the final pay-per-view of 2024, as well as final pay-per-view of forever. With the UFC moving to Paramount, and we have this little 6-week break after, which is gonna suck. I'm gonna try to get out some non-card related videos, maybe a tier list, maybe just some recent news coverage. But I figured we go ahead and drop our prediction video for the final card of this year, and we can go ahead and jump right in with the early prelim opener of Muhammad Naimov versus Myron Santos. I'm gonna start strong off the back. I'm going with Muhammad Naimov. It's been a minute since I've seen him fight as well as Myron Santos, and I can't quite remember his fights too well. But when we're looking at it here, these men are pretty evenly matched on the feet, high output, high land per minute, decent defense, better on the side of Santos. But the grappling is what really shows here as a difference. When you look at Naimov, he shoots takedown a lot. Not the greatest on it, but from what I've seen, he keeps trying. And if anybody tries to take him down, he has the better hand on this. Odds aren't out yet, so I can't go off that. But yeah, I could see this being a close fight on the feet. I'm pretty sure Muhammad Naimov's last fight went the same way. Close fight on the feet, striking as it's needed, and then grappling when you're not really liking what you're getting on the feet or you just want to win the round. And Myron Santos is good, but both of these men are riding off of a win streak. I'm not sure how long. They're relatively the same in size, Naimov being taller despite having the shorter amount of reach. Not too much of a disparity in the records, but I think, again, it's going to be a striking match where the wrestling favors Muhammad Naimov. I think he's pretty good at just mixing it up, keeping his opponents thinking about what he's throwing at him, if he's going to shoot or not. And, yeah, man, we're going to take him by decision. We move on to the next fight, Mansour Abdul Malik versus Antonio Tricoli. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I can't remember these gentlemen's last opponents, but I remember how the fights went. I think Tricoli was getting beat bad, pretty much TKO. That was really late in my opinion. But Mansour Abdul Malik is a hydrogen bomb compared to Antonio Tricoli as a coughing baby. Tricoli has the height, but he doesn't have the strength of a tall man. You can see he has a lot of losses. He's quite chinny with his chin being so high in the air. And Mansour is just a freak. I mean, look at him. He's full of muscle, explosive. He's got KO power. If we look at the win by here, 88% of his wins come by KO, and he's 8-0. So that's probably 7 out of his 8 wins are from KO, TKO, and he even has a sub as well, no decision. So insane. He's a finisher. He goes for it. And Tricoli's pretty mixed up. Both of these men typically don't see the decision too much, this will be exciting, but I think it's going to be Mansour Abdul Malik getting the sleep on Tricoli. He nearly quadruples his output in strikes landed. The significant strikes are pretty similar, but it looks like Tricoli definitely takes a lot more, and Malik's a bit more defensive. When Tricoli gets tired, I've seen him up against the fence, he just starts kind of like waving, creating air traffic, but not with efficiency, not with anticipation of strikes coming in. And I think that leaves his chin high to get slept. Neither of this men really grapple too much, but I think just off of a physicality basis, when this hits the cage and they start, clinching there, I think Mansour is going to be the stronger guy. He's bulkier. He's going to get that head under the neck and onto the chest of Tricoli, guide him, where the head, neck, and spine goes. The rest of the body will go. So if you can release your head up against the cage clinch position, it can really help you control your opponent in that way. And I think that's what Malik's going to do before he finds the chinning. But yeah, this is a pretty clear-cut fight. I don't know if I could even see a Tricoli pull it off. I'm going to say round 2, sleep of Antonio Tricoli by Mansour Abdul Malik. We move up the card. Iwo Barnowski, something like that, versus Ibo Aslan. I'll be honest, I don't know much about this gentleman. But Iwo hasn't looked the greatest, and he's coming off of a loss. I'm sure Iwo has a previous extensive career that I'm just not sure about, and he's switching over to MMA, but I think he's looked good in his recent fight. Let's see. This is his UFC debut, but his win, KO, TKO, and submission. This guy's a finisher. He goes for it. All the fights he's had have been quite short. Yeah, this is definitely from his one fight where he just probably slept the guy out cold. But Ibo Aslan's nothing to write home about. Neither of these men look like they're going to shoot grappling. So I think if we're just looking at it on the feet fight play out here, Iwo could walk through Aslan. I'm not sure if this is a fraud check moment. Ibo's got experience, but 14-3 coming off of a loss at light heavyweight, it's a pick'em, you know what I mean? And especially at light heavyweight, when the power's there, anything can happen, and it looks like when, the fists are flying and leather's going, Iwo is the better guy in this, so we're going to take him by that. judging by both of these men's short time, their ability to go for it, whether they think they're going to win or not, I'm going to go with Iwo Baranowski by round 1 KO. We'll go with that. We move up the card to a really good underrated fight. I'm not sure why it's so low. Probably because it's not that low. This card's just weak. I'm joking. This card has good name value, but yeah, this does feel kind of short for a card. Edson Barboza versus Jalen Turner. Both super fun strikers. Barboza a little bit more fun, but Barboza just hasn't been in form recently. Jalen Turner did retire, which isn't a good look. I think he was riding like a 2-3 fight losing streak, and he just quit at the prime of his career. He's a young guy. He's big for the division. He's able to make 155 without dying. Edson, on the other hand, doesn't know when to call it quits. His last fight, I think he got the piss beat out of him. I thought it was going to be, I think it was a TKO or just a really bad, made it to the bell. We both know these guys have good finishing instinct. They don't really like to see the decision too much. I think this is skewered because of Barboza getting up there in age. But both these men are going to go for it on the feet. That's the story of their careers. That's how it's going to go. They're both going to land high output. It's going to be slick striking. I don't know if either man's going to grapple too much. Maybe Barboza will now that he's older and everything he does in a fight matters more than it does in the style points of when he was young. This is tough because Barboza's old, but you got to wonder about Jalen's mentality. I mean, Barboza's still fighting because he thinks he got it. He thinks he has it, and he wants to keep fighting. Jalen Turner retired at the peak of his physical career despite 3 tough losses against top-tier opponents. Like, that loss against Dan Hooker, which was like a split decision. Now, a lot of people said it was a robbery. I don't know. That's still a great aged fight, win, loss, whatever you want to call it, because Dan Hooker got destroyed, but put up a fight against Arman Saruki, and he can still hang with the top guys. And I think Jalen Turner's mentality to just want to leave the sport after losing a couple like that just kind of makes me worry. He could be the bigger opponent. He could have less wins but less losses and not as much damage on him as Barboza might have. But I don't know. I question that mentality. It seems like Barboza's still got it. He's a bit old, but I don't know, man. It's difficult. I'm probably wrong here, but I'm going to go with Edson Barboza. Probably by a decision. I don't know. If anyone's going to get slept, it might be Barboza. I don't know if I see Turner getting slept. I think Barboza does implement cage wrestling and grappling when he needs to, but he primarily likes to strike. Unless Jalen just comes in with this plan of not wanting anything on the feet, wanting to win the fight, so he grapples Barboza, grinds him out against the cage for 3 rounds. But yeah, I think Barboza's head's in it a bit more despite the age gap and whatnot. I'm going to go with him by decision. It's hard to justify this one because if Jalen Turner was like riding a 1-fight win streak or just didn't retire and had got one back and now he's here, I'd go with him. He's a young guy. He's in his prime. He's mentally right. But that's the thing, the mental. It's everything for you in a fight. And I know I'm harping on here, but I just don't trust that personally. My gut's telling me not to. So we're going with Edson Barboza by decision. We move on to the final fight of the early prelims. Oh, okay, I get it now. This is crazy. Vettori on an early prelim. How the mighty fall. Granted, he's running a 3-fight loss streak versus Bruno Ferreira. Win streak. I can't remember his last opponent, but I think he slept him out bad. Marvin Vettori, pardon me. I want to say Bruno Ferreira has KO'd majority of his opponents. Yeah. Vettori's good, man, but he's just a walking punching bag at this point, it feels like. He always makes it close. He never really tries to put his mark on the fight. The grappling is pretty matched, honestly. I don't see Vettori trying to grapple too much. It looks like he tries to strike for the most part, despite how it goes. And while having the more, the better numbers, I think the power lies behind Bruno Ferreira, and across a decision, 3 rounds too, so it's not like gassing is really too much of a concern. Granted, they are middleweights. Across 3 rounds, I could see Bruno Ferreira just beating the head off of Vettori. Vettori landing back but not keeping up, trying to implement grappling, but I could see Ferreira just seeing it coming, defending well and keeping Marvin Vettori on the back foot as he's striking. It just feels like Vettori isn't really there. Yeah, I know he's had some personal troubles in life. I don't know his age, but I think he's getting up there. I think his title aspirations have completely gone, so it's tough to find reasons to fight. I could be wrong. If Marvin Vettori makes me eat my own words here, that's cool. I'm glad he's back on a win streak if he gets there. But yeah, I just think the aggressiveness over 3 rounds is going to be too much for him because he's like Peter Yan in round 1, but just for the whole fight. He just never goes for it. I feel like his last few fights, he's just gone tit for tat and left it very 50-50. And I think Bruno Ferreira is not going to let that happen. But I still see this going to a decision nonetheless because Vittori's chin is insane. So we're going to go with Bruno Ferreira by decision. We move on to the first fight on the regular prelims. That was early prelims. Nazim Sadikov versus Fares Ziam. This is a really good fight. This is a really underrated matchup a lot of people aren't talking about. I know the numbers here are a bit even, but I mean, Fares Ziam is vicious. We saw that fight against Matt Frevola, bloodied, beaten, almost got his knee tore off, I think. And then I think that was that fight. It could have been a different fight. But then just sleeps Frevola with a knee, sky high knee too. This guy's tall. He got that knee really up there. But both these gentlemen are running, a win streak. Definitely the strike. I mean, Sadikov does not like to see a decision. He goes for the finish as well as Ziam, but Ziam's a bit more balanced. Sadikov really goes for the KO, which I like to see. He has all the output benefits on striking. The grappling's pretty evenly matched for both these men. And I don't know too much about Sadikov's recent game, but just seeing Fares Ziam, his flexibility, not physically, I mean his versatility, sorry. His versatility to have really good striking that threatens you and then have that ground game in his back pocket, offensively or defensively, I think it just makes him a really complete fighter. I think he's coming into his own in the lightweight division. He's a young guy on the come up. I could see him in the next few years breaking in, being a mainstay in the top 10, maybe even top 5 if he can really fine tune some things. But yeah, I think he's riding momentum, like a decent fight win streak. I'm not sure about Sadikov. But I just think he's too defensively sound to get slept in anyway, and I think if he's not liking what he's seeing on the feet against the KO artist like Sadikov, he's going to pull that grappling out, and he's going to win the fight with it. I think this fight's probably going to go to a decision. Maybe if Fares Ziam's grappling is really that much better than Sadikov, a submission could come out of nowhere. I don't really buy that, but it was just a thought to throw out there. But yeah, we're going to go with Fares Ziam by decision. We move on to a flyweight bout. Maycee Barber versus Karine Silva. Now, I feel like there's been a narrative that Maycee Barber hasn't looked great. She's coming off of a win, but then again, so is Karine. They're both decisions, I believe. Pretty even. I'm going to go with Karine Silva. Why does this fight not have odds, but these two and the rest of them do? If I minimize it, will it show? No. I'm going to go with Karine Silva. Wait, what were they ranked? Sorry, this is just like, I didn't even think this. It's 5 and 9. I'm going to go with Karine Silva by decision. Maycee Barber's good. Oh, dude, I'm not certain of my pick. Like nothing. This will go to a decision. I don't see a finish. This will go to a decision. But who wins it? Nope, we're going with Maycee Barber. Just gut feeling. Like if this is a close fight, they're just gonna chuck it Barber's way. Why not? I don't really have too much to explain here. I know both these women strike a lot, grapple a lot, mix it up. They're really nothing special in any area. I felt like Barber at one point was a slick jiu-jitsu ace, but in a recent fight, I think she wasn't able to get the grappling off as much as maybe she wanted to. Maybe she won by submission. I'm just an idiot. I don't really remember too well. But yeah, I don't have an explanation for this one, guys. I'm sorry. We're going with Maycee Barber. If you picked Maycee Barber, or if you just let me know your pick and why you did it, and if I'm stupid, let me know. Thank y'all. We move up the card to Terrence McKinney versus Chris Duncan. Now, the odds makers have Chris Duncan as a favorite, which makes sense. I mean, both these gentlemen coming off wins, so momentum's not a question here, and we're not going into mindset. Finishing instinct definitely favor McKinney. I'm going to go with McKinney, man. They seem pretty matched. I feel like an idiot for not remembering either of their last fights, but every time I see a Terrence McKinney fight, it's kill or be killed. And I feel like I've seen Chris Duncan take a loss, and it didn't look great, and even his wins were close decisions. So McKinney, I've seen his recent fights, obviously. He's, Oh. That's a good win. That's a really good win. What does McKinney have? Yeah, we're still going to ride with McKinney. Chris Duncan obviously probably has the quality, better win streak. But McKinney's just about it. Like, there's some fights, styles make fights. That's what they say. Chris Duncan seems to be really good. Slick submission over Jordan Vucenic. Had a decision win over Rebecca in his most recent outing, I believe. Terrence McKinney, not the same quality. Got a win over Borshev. Another one over someone else before that. And then he lost to Esteban Ribovic. But Esteban Ribovic is a very good fighter. I'm looking forward to see what he's got coming up. I feel like he had a fight recently that he won. But McKinney's kill or be killed. And I think with a fight this close, I'm going to favor the guy who's kill or be killed, honestly. McKinney comes out strong. He has experience. His last win was a crazy fast submission over Borshev. 55 seconds, I think it was, if I remember. And I just like how that looks. Chris Duncan has wins by submission. Granted, they've looked good. I think the Jordan Vucenic one was good, but Jordan was looking good before he made that poor decision to go for that takedown like that. Again, this is a very close matchup, and I feel like I'm having a hard time explaining my justification for this, but I think y'all get it. Terrence McKinney, he's been highlight reeled many a time, but many a time he has been the one highlighting. And I like that from him. Chris Duncan's good as well. I'm not familiar with his game. And I think McKinney's got more dog in him. So yeah, we're going to go with the round 1 TKO by Terrence McKinney. We move on. Grant Dawson versus Manuel Torres. Now, Manuel Torres is a good fighter. He's got good grappling despite going against a guy like Dawson who's a wrestler and can implement it well. He looks to definitely be the better guy on the feet. Not by much, definitely the output, but I mean the significance isn't insane. But Grant Dawson's no slouch on the feet either. Obviously not a KO artist. Now Manuel Torres is good, but he's got hands, and then Grant Dawson. I'm gonna go with Grant Dawson. Despite Manuel Torres' average knockdown, 4 per fight, which is pretty insane, and him definitely being the more active striker, I think the grappling of Grant Dawson is going to be a good neutralizer to that. I think Dawson can hang on the feet. He's got decent chin despite that Bobby Green loss. I think he's got the hands to survive on the feet, to have his own success in moments. I don't know if I see him hurting him at all, but I think the wrestling is going to happen here. I think he's going to put him up against the cage. He's going to, go from a single leg to a double leg or thread a double leg and then end on a single leg up against the cage. And he's going to ground and pound. He's going to ride him out the 3 rounds. I really see that just going the distance. Manuel Torres might rock him, maybe even drop him at one point, but I think the grappling and wrestling of Grant Dawson is going to be enough to neutralize that. Yeah, probably good damage outside of Manuel Torres' side, and probably good control from Dawson. I could see maybe some robbery comments here. But, yeah, we're going to take Grant Dawson by decision. We move on to the opener of the main card, Jan Blachowicz versus Bogdan Guskov. Polish power is back, baby, but he's old. Guskov's good, man. He's got good grappling. The odds makers have it pretty close. Jan Blachowicz, granted he's on like a 3-fight losing streak, they're all close fights. Carlos Olberg, Pereira, sorry if that like hurts y'all's ears, but... And then another person I feel stupid. Who was it? It's gonna make me so mad if I don't know. Olberg. Oh, it was that. It was Ankh. Jeez, maybe he's not that active. Yeah, so a draw against Ankalaev, a former champ. An arguable robbery. I think Pereira won, but an arguable robbery against a former and current champ. And a arguable robbery against the number 1 contender. I think that speaks volumes to him still being just right there. Maybe he doesn't do enough to get the winning moments, but I don't know if Bogdan Guskov is going to put up a fight like former champs and current champs are. I think Bogdan Guskov is really good. He has good grappling. Striking's decent. He's got some nasty finishes. But I think Jan Blachowicz is too slick. He's got experience. He's got kickboxing as well as a great physical stature, so I don't think Bogdan's just going to muscle him over. It's definitely going to go to decision. Maybe a TKO from Jan Blachowicz, but I'm probably going to go with a decision win favoring Jan Blachowicz. I think he's got good leg kicks. He'll probably keep, the straight shots down the middle on Bogdan up. He'll probably stuff takedowns, and if he gets taken down, I think he has good enough takedown defense to get back up. And he does shoot takedowns himself, so I could see him once Bogdan maybe doesn't have the snap in his shot or just the explosivity, and he's a bit tired, a bit sweaty. I could see Jan Blachowicz pushing him up against the cage, grinding the fight out, landing good shots, eventually getting the takedown, and whatnot. But yeah, this is It's a close fight. I really hope Jan gets the win. It'd be heartbreaking if this was officially like he's done and he gets finished or he gets decisively whooped. And it'd be great stock for Bogdan Guskov. He's a great fighter. This just happens to be a matchup against one of the most lovable light heavyweights of UFC history, in all honesty. And I want to see Jan Blachowicz get a win, and I think he will. So we're going to go with Jan Blachowicz by decision. We move on to Henry Cejudo versus Peyton Talbot. This is a really good fight. Retirement fight for Cejudo. He's coming off that loss to Song Yadong, I think, with the eye poke situation. Talbot's riding that win off of It's the Brazilian guy who's blonde. I can't remember his name, but a good win there. It was close, though. It was really close, and granted, Peyton had offensive grappling because his opponent was making really bad choices grappling, even when he had offense. But when he had defense, too, especially, he made some terrible decisions. Peyton was getting taken down, too, at moments. When his opponent's neurons fired and you got a good idea, Peyton did get taken down, if I'm remembering correctly. And I think despite Cejudo's age, Talbot still doesn't have all this hype behind him. Like, he lost to Raoni Barcelos via grappling. And I understand Henry's the smaller guy, but he's an Olympic champ and he has good wrestling. And I think when he puts that wrestling on Talbot, it's probably going to be the same story. Unless Talbot's revolutionized his grappling defense. I could see Henry Cejudo just using his experience, being a crafty vet, spoiling the hype train that was reignited once more before sailing off into the sunset for a third time. Shout out Henry Cejudo, just faking retirement. But yeah, this is a really good fight. You know, it's new guard versus old guard, but I think the new guard isn't the best demonstration of new guard. He's shown that he's not great in the grappling, and I don't think you can make huge strides in it in the span of like 1 year, 2 years, unless you're like, there's like a learning curve where it's like crazy growth and then you start to plateau. It is the case with anything, pretty much. I just had a stroke there mid-sentence. But yeah, we're taking Henry Cejudo, probably by decision. I don't see him finishing Talbot. Talbot's good enough to not get subbed on the ground. No way ground and pound is happening. Crazy height difference for Talbot, 6 inches. Maybe he starts peppering Cejudo with a jab, busting his nose, put some damage on him. Cejudo's not feeling it, gets finished. That would be insane. That would be hilarious. But we're taking Henry Cejudo by decision. And yeah, he's just going to spoil the fun parade and leave. Peace out. We move on to the feature fight of the card. Brandon Moreno versus Tatsuro Taira. Brandon Moreno riding a win streak, but he hasn't looked great in his recent outings. His decision losses, he's left it close. He hasn't put that staple on the fight. He's gone tit for tat, salt and pepper, but no mustard with these guys. To a decision, 3 rounds, 5 rounds, doesn't matter. And he leaves it up to the scorecards and doesn't get any big moments, doesn't knock someone down, if he knocks him down, he'll let them work their way back into the fight with striking enough to make the judges be like, well, I don't know. So he hasn't looked great in best outings, and this is a 3-round which favors Tatsuro Taira, who gets the back very early and holds it very well. So that's the problem, right? It's like old guard versus new guard. But this time, I don't think old guard is that washed. I understand a lot of people say he hasn't looked good, but he hasn't looked good against the top guys. And I understand Taira's very good. But at 125, with how skilled it is, the top 5, unless Taira's in it, but the guys above Taira have been there, have cemented themselves. They're a different level than the rest of the flyweight division, hence why they've stuck around for so long. I don't know. So there's two theories. There's Taira gets the back and holds it, maybe round 1, round 2, and then Brandon, he starts to get tired, and Brandon overtakes him with the striking in round 3, but it's a Taira win by decision, which is more likely. But what I'm going to pick, and what I feel is the right thing, is Taira has a really good first round, gets the back, controls it, Moreno defends well, maybe even escapes. Second round, maybe a little bit of the same thing, if at all. I think Brandon Moreno is going to be good about defending that. I think Taira might be tired from just trying to hold down Moreno. Moreno's a fast, explosive guy. He's got infinite energy, infinite cardio, even into the 5th round when he's all bloodied and tired. He's still not breathing too heavy, and he's moving quick like these small guys do. And I think if he keeps that up through round 1, Taira's legs are going to gas. You can't hold a body triangle that long despite who you are. And it takes a lot of pop off your shots, takes a lot of movement out of your feet. And I think if you're not moving that well against Moreno, he's fast, he zips in, he's not known for power, but he'll rack up numbers on you round over round over round. This is a 3-round fight, and I think if the first round goes how I think, where Tyra gives it his all to secure that round, like almost chokes Moreno out, has his back. People are saying was it a 10-8, but the judges give it a 10-9 because there was nothing serious. I think Moreno can make adjustments. I think he can defend the grappling when he sees it coming in the second round, and I think he'll start to confidently just pepper up Tyra and just really rack up those numbers in the second and third round to where he can't be denied a decision. I could see it 29-28 going to Brandon Moreno. We'll go ahead and move on to the co-main event. Alexandre Pantoja versus Joshua Van. I am a ginormous fan of Joshua Van. Slick striking. He's fun. Put Brandon Royval down at like the last 10 seconds of his recent fight. Really entertaining guy. I was gutted to see him get shinned by Johnson, but his bounce back was insane. Young guy, despite 15-2. That's a lot of fights, but he himself is a young guy. I think he's like 23, 24. But it's Pantoja, dude. And Pantoja's the same size, which is not good for Van because Pantoja, all of his other opponents, I believe, have been taller than him. Steve Erceg's like 5'6". Kai Kara might have been shorter than him, so I take that back. But before that, majority of his opponents have been taller than him, or if not even in height. And this time, Vaughn is the same size, if not a little smaller in terms of just his frame, not just height. And I think that's terrible. I love Joshua Van to win, maybe in the later rounds if Pantoja starts doing that zombie walk where he just aimlessly shoots and Van's got the cardio to sprawl and brawl and put it on him. I'll get so hype. I'll be so happy to get a pick wrong again like I did with I take that back. That was a gambling pick. But I would be so hyped if Vaughn got the win. But in a world of realism, Pantoja is too physical. He's got the grappling. If Vaughn tries to do this like slick striking thing and shoots his head back but his hips are forward, Pantoja's going to blast W, flat on your ass, get your back, strangle you. It's just the way he works. It's just the way he operates. It's what he does. It sucks. I could see this going to a decision, but I think Pantoja will probably get a round 2, round 3 sub. He's in his prime, man. He's putting together this crazy resume and a few more fights that aren't just rematch after rematch after rematch. I'm ready to open the conversation about him being better than DJ. Probably 1 win, probably 2 more wins if I'm being honest. This is going to be a fun fight. I really wish Vaughn could get it done, but if I'm using my brain here, Pantoja's getting the win by sub, round 2, round 3. That's my prediction. We move on to the main event. Merab Dvalishvili. It's so hard to say that. Versus Peter Yan. Like, I have to pick Merab. And I'm a fan of Yan. I want Yan to win. Merab's a fun guy, but you go, hey, you want to watch a Merab fight? Or, hey, you want to watch a Peter Yan fight? We're going to the Peter Yan fight. You know what I mean? His fight with O'Malley was generational. It was close. I thought he won, but it created great things for the division. It was a great scrap. They were all bloodied and beaten up, going back and forth. Like, at that time, O'Malley was not a guy who got dropped or even hurt, and Peter was the guy who was doing it to him while getting stung back, which showed that O'Malley wasn't the fraud that we thought he was. And, I mean, Peter's looked good. He's had a close win over Song Yadong where he had to implement the wrestling. He couldn't get the striking going, which worries me. Who else? Figgy, but Figgy hasn't looked great in his recent outings. I don't know. The only way I could see Peter Yan winning is if Merab stuck to his recent years, where he's been striking because he's confident and he uses the wrestling throughout the fight and doesn't abandon it entirely, but he gives the person a chance to maybe land it because he's reckless. Henry Cejudo wobbled him good with a left hook in round 1, I think. And if he chooses to try to stand with Yan to prove a point that he can strike and then he wrestles, he's given Yan a chance to land some really good damage. And if it goes to a decision, who knows? This definitely probably will go to a decision. I think Yan's grappling is good enough to not get subbed, I hope. But Merab's good, man. I think he's in his prime. I don't know if this is the fight that he cracks. I don't know how much better Yan could have gotten, especially older. This is his last shot at a title. And usually when you're at that point in your career, you haven't made great strides and improvement. You kind of just maintain where you're at, hoping that you can just do things right this time around. And I worry for him. I want him to win. I could see him getting that win. He's got power if he puts it on Merab. and survives into the later rounds. And despite Merab not getting tired, he's not completely gassed like he was in the first fight from setting a record-breaking takedown defense. I could see him doing good work here, but I just feel like Merab's gonna do what Merab does. It's not the most entertaining, but it works. He puts it together well. He's more entertaining than like the pure Dagestani method, but again, it's just like the fun answer is Peter, but the logical answer is Merab. He's probably gonna get probably gonna be a. I don't see another 50-45. I think like the last fight was. I think this will probably be like not 48-47, maybe 49-46, maybe 48-47. I take that back. But yeah, I think it'll be a close fight, just where Jan doesn't do enough in the rounds, and once Merab gets the takedown over and over, Peter just starts looking tired. And it's going to suck to watch. It's going to ruin my night. I'm going to go to bed angry. It's okay. And even if Merab gets a finish, I'll be more angry because I just really like Peter Yan as a fighter. And Merab's kind of already the 135 go, but this will just finish it off. This will cement it. No other. Don't even like mention another guy. This is it. So this is a good card overall. The main event, it's kind of heartbreaking just because you know what's going to happen. For the most part, if Jan pulls it off, this will be the most legendary, just feel-good moment, especially for the career of Peter Yan. The trajectory it went on, the butterfly effect that knee had on the entire surrounding divisions, it was insane. But yeah, we're taking Merab decision, I'd say. Yeah. And then we have 6 weeks after this with nothing, bro. I don't know. I'll probably do some tier list, like I said, recent news coverage, maybe some hypothetical matchmaking, building like a dream card or something, building the first White House card. We'll do something like that. We'll figure it out, and I'll have the video uploaded and let y'all know. But again, thank y'all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, share, subscribe. I got some hate comments in my last video because I said something about Armand, I think, and an Armand fan, an Armand Glazer, was like, hey, he was just hating, and I was like, if you're hating, you're doing something right. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here. Like, subscribe, share. Let me know if you have any videos for me over the 6-week break, and yeah, if you picked anything different and I'm wrong, let me know so I can make last minute changes.